The story begins with the release of a highly challenging and unpopular VR game known as the Tower of Trials. This game was notorious for its absurd difficulty, and it quickly gained a reputation among Korean gamers for being nearly impossible to beat. Despite its negative reviews, some dedicated players continued to strive to conquer it. After 3 long years of trying to master the game, players began to realize that the Gate Guardian was virtually invincible, and floors like the Arctic and Labyrinth were nearly impossible to complete. Many gamers started to describe the game as more of a torture than entertainment, leading to a decline in its player base. Eventually, most people forgot about the Tower of Trials. However, there was one persistent player named Jinhyuk who refused to give up on the seemingly impossible game. He spent 11 years tirelessly researching and practicing new strategies until he became a master of the tower. Finally, he achieved the remarkable feat of clearing the 50th and final floor, becoming the first person ever to do so. As Jinhyuk stood in disbelief at his accomplishment, he reflected on the years of dedication that had led to this moment. He wondered if he should have shared his journey by streaming his gameplay or uploading it to Newtube, even though the game was widely regarded as trash. He contemplated the potential viewership his video might still attract. Suddenly, a system message appeared on his screen, thanking him for playing and announcing a reboot update scheduled for 12 hours later. This message surprised Jinhyuk because the game had not been profitable for the company. However, he had already decided that he no longer wanted to play the game and planned to quit his job as a streamer. Later that night, as he removed his VR headset, Jinhyuk started his live stream and decided to share his decision with his fans. He considered posting an announcement about his resignation the next day. As he drifted off to sleep, he pondered whether to upload the video of his triumphant victory on the tower's last floor. In the morning, as he contemplated uploading his video, Jinhyuk was shocked to discover that the Tower of Trials was no longer just a game. A system message appeared, declaring that the tower had been completed in the first update. Every player received a message stating that they must clear the next floor within 90 days, or humanity would face extinction. Jinhyuk struggled to calm his racing thoughts, realizing that he couldn't afford to waste time if the Tower of Trials had become a reality. With a sense of urgency, he sprinted outside, determined to level up and face whatever challenges lay ahead. In Central City, panic and chaos engulfed the streets as people desperately tried to leave the country in a bid for survival. Amid the turmoil, Jinhyuk made his way to the underground mall, a place he remembered as being designated as an external zone in the Korean server. Entering the external zone, Jinhyuk was greeted by a system message indicating that he had entered an event zone. He found himself surrounded by other players, all of whom had played the first part of the Tower of Trials. The atmosphere was tense, and everyone regarded each other with suspicion. A man named Lee Jong-soo approached Jinhyuk, his eyes locking onto Jinhyuk's face as he asked if he was Kang Jinhyuk. Recognizing him, Jong-soo inquired about the highest floor Jinhyuk had reached in the game. He also mentioned their past as co-workers and brought up the exploitative contract practices of his company, which had silenced many streamers' complaints. Recalling how Jong-soo's company had pushed his friends out of the gaming industry, Jinhyuk's anger flared. Without hesitation, he headbutted Jong-soo, causing him to fall to the ground, bleeding and missing 2 teeth. The world had changed, and Jinhyuk was no longer willing to tolerate such exploitation. Suddenly, a massive tree emerged from a water fountain, identified as the mangrove of greed. Fruits began to grow from the tree, each possessing the power to enhance a player's stats. Jinhyuk recognized the potential of these fruits, but there were only 4 of them. As the fruits began to ripen, a frenzy erupted, with everyone scrambling towards the tree, pushing and shoving to reach the coveted fruit. Jong-soo, still angry at Jinhyuk, expressed his frustration, claiming they could have benefited if they had worked together. Jinhyuk silenced him, emphasizing that this was not the time to chase after the fruit and that they needed to focus on the greater challenges at hand. After all 4 fruits had been claimed, the tree's roots suddenly sprang to life, attacking the remaining participants and forcing them to scatter in panic. In the midst of the chaos, Jinhyuk and Jong-soo found themselves as the last 2 standing. Jinhyuk, realizing that the true prize of the event could only be obtained after consuming all the fruits, shared his insight with Jong-soo. Jong-soo saw this as a golden opportunity and eagerly asked Jinhyuk for a plan. Jinhyuk proposed a daring strategy. They would charge the tree from opposite sides simultaneously, and if either of them hesitated, they both risked losing their lives. With unwavering determination, Jong-soo assured Jinhyuk that he had ample experience in the game and was ready for the challenge. Jinhyuk wasted no time and sprinted toward the menacing mangrove tree. However, when he glanced back, he was met with Jong-soo's treacherous words. Jong-soo called Jinhyuk a fool and accused him of blindly trusting his words. He insisted that Jinhyuk should go ahead and act as the bait. Jinhyuk couldn't help but smile, realizing that Jong-soo had not changed at all. He understood that in this situation, the bait would be the one who stood furthest from the tree. As Jinhyuk made his move, Jong-soo remained rooted in place, further solidifying his betrayal. In that moment, Jong-soo's fate was sealed as the tree's roots reached out, gripping him tightly, and eventually, ending his life as he begged for help. Jinhyuk, on the other hand, skillfully dodged some of the tree's attacks and deflected others, gradually damaging the tree with its own powers. His experience from the game had prepared him for this moment. Although this was an event mob, it held no fear for Jinhyuk, as he had faced similar challenges in the game before the reboot. With each well-timed maneuver, the core of the mangrove tree was revealed, making the process of dismantling it seem almost routine for Jinhyuk. He knew that defeating this event mob wouldn't grant him experience points. At best, it would earn him a place in the Hall of Fame, which feels rather useless to him for some reason, as it doesn't hold a real value to his strength. As Jinhyuk continued to dodge the sleep butterflies, which served as the mangrove's defense mechanism, he remained vigilant against their sleeping powder. He knew the simple solution was to hold his breath when they approached. Gradually, he made his way to the core of the mangrove tree. With determination, Jinhyuk removed the core, and a system message appeared, declaring him as the first to defeat the mangrove of greed. He couldn't help but be amazed at how his extensive research on patterns and timing had paid off, grateful for the progress he had made thus far. The system informed him that his achievements would be recorded in the Hall of Fame and requested his name. However, Jinhyuk was hesitant to share his personal information. He asked for confidentiality, and the system agreed, labeling him as unknown, with a blurry face and a modified voice. Afterwards, Jinhyuk retrieved the orb from the tree's trunk, which provided a substantial 12 bonus stats. He recognized it as the most valuable item among the 50 floors, and believed it would make him the strongest level 1 player. An hour later, the system uploaded the video of Jinhyuk's battle against the Mangrove of Greed, announcing its defeat. This news left everyone astonished. Simultaneously, Jinhyuk received multiple proposals in his main account, each offering him 1 billion won to join their organization. However, Jinhyuk had a flashback, recalling the hardships he had faced every day. While these offers would have been tempting yesterday, he now had no intention of sharing his knowledge, even for a substantial sum. He understood the importance of information monopoly. Later, Jinhyuk noticed that the mana leak from the Tower of Trials had spread throughout Seoul after the game's reboot. While it didn't have a significant effect, it led to a notable change. Artifacts outside the tower had turned into replicas of sacred artifacts, although they were, in reality, fake. The genuine legendary artifacts remained inside the tower. To explore this phenomenon, Jinhyuk visited the National Museum of Korea, known for its vast collection of artifacts. However, upon arrival, he discovered a burned corpse on the ground, indicating that someone had already been there before him. Jinhyuk was taken aback by how quickly people had grown bold in their quest for the great map of Far Eastland, which was kept in the medieval classical era gallery of the museum. This map had become imbued with magical energy, containing valuable information about the first 10 floors of the Tower of Trials, making it a highly sought-after item. However, Jinhyuk knew that the map was not the most crucial artifact in the museum. Inside the museum, chaos reigned as people fought over various artifacts. Suddenly, a towering figure arrived and issued a chilling threat, warning everyone not to move or face dire consequences. He displayed a unique ability that sent shivers down the spines of most, except for an old man and a girl who stood behind him. The old man, introducing himself as Min Jung-woo, defied the imposing figure's words, prompting the intimidating man to threaten to break his neck for questioning him. Without hesitation, the old man wielded fire magic to engulf the giant in flames, leaving him in agony. He then calmly ascended the stairs, instructing the girl to watch over the area until his return. As the old man departed, Jinhyuk entered the scene. He found the girl blocking his path with an artifact in hand. Unperturbed, Jinhyuk picked up an artifact from the ground. The girl grew angry as she watched him move freely and ordered her own artifact to transform into a menacing monster, ready to attack Jinhyuk, who appeared fearless in the face of danger. Jinhyuk calmly observed as the monster's spear lunged toward him, effortlessly deflecting the attack, much to the surprise of those witnessing the scene. He coolly informed the girl that her monster's weapon was now useless, and inquired about her next move. Undeterred by her initial failure, the girl utilized a replica skill to conjure 4 more artifacts, which she unleashed upon Jinhyuk. As he watched her manipulate these artifacts with apparent ease, Jinhyuk realized that she possessed the ability to control 5 artifacts simultaneously, marking her as an exceptional fighter, unlike the old man who relied on fire magic. The girl accused Jinhyuk of trying to appear impressive and expressed her dislike for him. In response, Jinhyuk decided to demonstrate the difference between them. He activated the artifact he had picked up earlier, infusing it with mana, causing a massive tiger to materialize. With ease, the formidable tiger demolished all of the other artifacts Lee Yuri had deployed. Overwhelmed by her defeat, Lee Yuri sank to her knees, stunned by her loss to Jinhyuk. He approached her and requested the mask of Tutankhamun. As she attempted to ask him a question, Jinhyuk summoned the menacing tiger artifact, using it to intimidate her. Fearing for her safety, she handed over the artifact. Curious, she asked if Jinhyuk was after the great map of the eastern lands. Jinhyuk reassured her, telling her not to worry. With a final command, Jinhyuk ordered his tiger artifact to guard the area, ensuring that nobody would follow him as he continued his quest. Upstairs, the old man watched in surprise as Jinhyuk surpassed Lee Yuri. Jinhyuk explained to the old man that they were currently blocked by a 1-star ranked barrier. The old man expressed his astonishment, stating that he had never encountered a barrier like this before. Neither physical nor magical attacks seemed to have any effect on it. Jinhyuk inspected the barrier closely, searching for the point where the flow of mana diverged, which would be the barrier's weak spot. He located it and informed the old man that he had a way to open it, but with a condition attached. Jinhyuk proposed that the old man should continuously weaken the barrier with his flame magic until Jinhyuk could enter and retrieve all the necessary relics. He emphasized that this was their only viable option, and as an incentive, Jinhyuk promised to allow the old man to keep the map. The old man was persuaded by Jinhyuk's proposal and agreed to his terms. He began using his flame magic on the barrier, allowing Jinhyuk to enter. Inside, Jinhyuk found a collection of artifacts, with the exception of the iron sword bearing the Qianlong inscription. As Jinhyuk searched for the relics needed to create one of the Tower of Trial's strongest artifacts, he successfully combined them, resulting in the creation of the Eye of Truth, an SS rank relic. This relic granted him the ability to see other people's status windows and determine when someone was lying. However, Jinhyuk's primary objective revealed itself through the system, which displayed a hidden quest that he had completed, meeting the requirements to acquire the inherent ability of fusion. This ability allowed him to copy and store various abilities in the world, enabling him to combine them to create stronger skills. These skills had the potential to make him the most formidable player in the Tower of Trials, but he needed to fulfill certain conditions to copy them. As Jinhyuk contemplated his newfound skill, the old man urged him to hurry, as he could no longer sustain the weakening of the barrier. Jinhyuk made his decision and chose to copy the old man's fire skill. He noticed that the condition for copying the skill required the old man to reveal his true feelings. With a sly smile, Jinhyuk realized that all he needed to do was provoke the old man to trigger the condition for copying the skill, making it a part of his growing arsenal.